Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series where we veganize all of Claire Saffitz dessert person recipes. Today, we will be making rice pudding cake with mango caramel, except we're not doing mango because it's not really in season. Claire says that we can actually substitute for any other fruit. So we're gonna do raspberries and see how that turns out. It looks really delicious. So let's get started. Okay, so the first step is to make the caramel sauce. So Claire says to combine the sugar, a cup of sugar, and a third of a cup of water in a saucepan over medium heat. So let's do that. I already measured out our sugar, and I'm gonna throw it into this small saucepan. Oh, make sure you spill it all over your counter too. And then a third of a cup of water. Light my stove. I have to light my stove with a lighter like it's the 1800s. Stir until the sugar is dissolved. Once my sugar dissolves and comes to a boil, I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, so my mixture is boiling and I want to show you what it looks like. So come on, come here. Okay, so my sugar mixture is boiling. So what I'm doing is I'm wetting my pastry brush and I'm just going along the sides to make sure that there's no crystallization forming because that can mess up the caramel. All right, so I'm gonna just keep letting this boil for, Claire says, 7 to 10 minutes. Also, Claire says to swirl the pan often as well. You don't want to stir it once it starts boiling, she says, but you want to swirl it. So let's do some swirling. So I kind of feel like the sugar mixture is done, but I can't really decide, so I need your help. Is that like a deep amber color, do we think? I'm gonna go with it. Okay, so now Claire says to immediately take it off the heat. So I'm gonna turn off my stove. I don't know why the hastiness, but okay. And then I'm gonna add my fruit. So my raspberries, I'm gonna throw in carefully. I also have a few random blackberries that I wanted to use up, so I'm just gonna throw those in too, I guess. And then, oh, okay, then she says to return it to the heat, so I'm not really sure why we had to cut the heat, but okay, let me get my lighter again. Okay, so now Claire says to add in half a cup of heavy cream. So in place of dairy cream in order to veganize this, I am using this dairy-free Califia Farms heavy whip. Any vegan heavy cream that you can find should work. So now Claire says to, in a steady stream, add in our half a cup of cream. Ooh, ah. Okay, next Claire says to add in the butter. So we are going to be doing 4 tablespoons of butter, or 2 ounces. And she says to do it in like little chunks like this. Oh, and to substitute the butter, I'm going to be using this Earth Balance vegan butter, but any vegan butter will do. Okay, I added in all my butter, and this is what's happening. And now she says to just keep stirring it and letting it cook until it thickens. So another maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. I'm gonna just keep an eye on it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, bye. Okay, just kidding. It's not supposed to look like this. It's supposed to be at a gentle simmer. So I just lowered my heat down a lot. So hopefully it will calm down a little bit. It doesn't really look like it is though, and my heat is as low as it could be. Maybe I'll move it to a smaller burner. Okay, so my mixture has been cooking for a period of time, and I think it looks slightly thicker, so I decided to cut the heat, and now Claire says to let it cool again slightly. So we'll see how long that feels right. But you have to use a handheld blender next to blend up all the fruit. So cool enough so that if it splatters, you don't burn yourself, is what I would say. So I'll come back and show you that when we're ready. So I think it's all smooth now. All the lumps are gone. Because I chose a fruit that has seeds in it though, I am gonna take the extra step of straining out the seeds because I feel like all those seeds are not gonna be super pleasant to eat. So let's do that. Okay, so here we have our finished caramel. I really want to taste it, so let's do that. It's delicious. Okay, I'm just gonna set this aside now and we're gonna get going on the actual cake part of the recipe. Okay, so for the rice pudding mixture, we are gonna use this kind of rice. It's like the kind of rice you use to make risotto. So we need a cup of this. Whoa. Okay, you have to make sure all your ingredients are also just thrown everywhere around the kitchen or you're not doing it right, you know? We're gonna add our cup of rice into a medium saucepan along with, so next the recipe says 3 cups of whole milk. So in place of that, I think honestly you could use any non-dairy milk of your choice, but I'm gonna use this Chobani oat milk extra creamy because I feel like it kind of mimics whole milk a little bit more because she's like really thick. Let me give her a shake. 3 cups of milk in with our rice. 1, 2, 3. Next, the recipe calls for evaporated milk, and I actually was able to find evaporated oat milk. So we're gonna use this. Honestly, I don't really know what evaporated milk is. Honestly, I feel like if you can't find any evaporated dairy-free milk, you could probably just add some more regular milk. I don't think it would make that big of a difference. I actually see this in quite a few stores, so I feel like it is decently easy to find. So if you can find it, we're gonna put in a whole can of this. Next, it says a teaspoon of diamond crystal kosher salt. Diamond crystal kosher salt. Diamond crystal kosher salt. Why can't I say diamond crystal kosher salt? Next, it says to add a teaspoon of diamond crystal kosher salt. I'm just gonna eyeball this. We're gonna add the sugar. Right, we're gonna do 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Okay, next we're going to add some cardamom, 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, it smells so good. I'm gonna eyeball that too. Okay, so the last ingredient is some dark rum. You'll notice this isn't dark. It is crystal clear. So here's what happened, okay? I went to the liquor store and I asked the guy, I need some dark rum, like, what you got? And he was like, oh, let me show you. And he showed me these big ass bottles of rum. And he told me the story about how, like, in his culture, um, dark rum is for sipping and they stay away from clear rum because that causes arguments. I don't really know what that means. But anyway, so he showed me all these dark sipping rums, and I was like, well, I don't really need that huge bottle of it. I'm just baking with it. And he was like, okay, let me show you like some smaller bottles. So he shows me these two, and one's a dark rum and one is this one. And he's like, personally, I think you should get the clear one because it's sweeter because it's made from plantains or something. And I was like, okay, but if the recipe calls for dark rum. And he was like, no, trust me, this is better. And I was like, okay, but if my cake comes out bad, it's your fault. And he literally shook my hand and was like, I promise you this is better. But now, I don't know. Should we taste it? Okay, it is kind of sweet. It does kind of taste like plantains, weirdly. That might be in my head. I don't know. But it's still like really alcoholic. I don't know if this will taste good. I mean, I think this would be delicious in like a pina colada. So I'm definitely going to keep it and drink it. You know what I think would actually be really good in this? A little Di Serono? I don't know. Am I like, should I not be going super off book? Ugh, it smells so, I feel like this would be so good in this. I'm going to do it. How much? A quarter cup. Okay, it's not that much. So if it's bad, it's like fine. Don't do this. You should do the dark rum like Claire says to do. Mmm. Okay, the last ingredient is a vanilla pod, which unfortunately I couldn't find at the store, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of, what's this called? Vanilla extract. Again, you know, can't really have too much vanilla, can you? I don't think so. Now we're gonna cook this over medium heat for about 25 to 30 minutes, stirring often until the rice is translucent. So I will come back when it looks like that. All right, so our rice is totally cooked. So here is our mixture. I'm really curious to taste it to see what happened when we added our Di Serono. Mm, that is delicious. I feel like it totally works. If you don't have the rum, you should use Di Serono. Even if you have the rum, maybe use Di Serono. Did I just improve Claire's recipe? Just kidding. Now it says to stir in 4 tablespoons of butter. So I'm gonna use my same vegan butter that I used earlier. Okay, now it says to let this cool a little bit until it is warm but not hot. So in the meantime, I'm going to prepare my pan. Okay, so to prepare the pan, we are going to butter it. Like that. And then we're also going to add a round of parchment paper at the bottom, and I want to show you a little trick on how to get a perfect circle for the bottom that fits your pan nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold our parchment in half. Oh, this is like arts and crafts. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then we're going to fold it in half again that way. And then we're going to fold it this time along the diagonal. So my oven's preheated. I also preheated my oven to 350, by the way. And then we're going to keep doing that until maybe just one more time is probably enough. So you have like a little triangle like this. Then you're going to put it against your pie plate and kind of eyeball the what what is that? The radius, I think that's, if I remember from geometry class, I think that's the radius, half of the circle, like from the center, and then you'll just cut your triangle from there. And then you open it up. And you have a perfect, oh my God, that is a perfect circle if I've ever seen one. Then you just stick that in there. And now our pie plate's ready, our oven's preheated. I'm gonna check on my rice now and see if it's cooled enough to move on to the next step. The next step is to beat in some eggs into our pudding mixture. So to replace the eggs, I am going to use some cornstarch. So I'm not really sure how much I should do, but I'm gonna try doing about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then I'm gonna do about 6 tablespoons of water. Essentially, you wanna add enough water so that your cornstarch completely dissolves. It should be like quite liquidy still. You don't want to make what's that stuff called? Oobleck. Did you guys ever make that? It's really fun actually. If you put in a little less water than this into cornstarch, it makes this really cool, like not a solid, not a liquid thing. I don't know the science behind it, but it's really fun. Anyway, Claire's recipe calls for the mixture to cool down before adding in the eggs because essentially she doesn't want you to make scrambled eggs in your rice pudding because that's, you know, not what we're going for. But I decided that because we're adding in cornstarch instead of eggs, I actually do want the mixture to be decently hot because in order for the cornstarch to activate, it needs to be heated up. So my mixture is still quite hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in our cornstarch. Whoa, okay. Mix it in really well and it should thicken up the mixture a lot. If yours is not getting thicker, then I would say put it on the heat for a little bit until you notice the cornstarch starting to thicken up the mixture. Okay, so I did go ahead and pop this on the stove again just to like be extra sure that the cornstarch was activating. And I also added in 1 extra tablespoon of cornstarch just because I got nervous that maybe the 3 wasn't enough. So we're gonna try 4. So I did like 1 more tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 more tablespoons of water, made that little slurry mixture again, added it in. And it does seem like it's quite a bit thicker. So I'm hoping once it bakes in the oven, it will set up. Now we're going to transfer it into our prepared pan. So just pour it in. Oh, heavy. All right, so now this is gonna go into the oven. Claire says for 40 to 50 minutes until the surface is lightly browned. So I'm gonna pop it in the oven and I will come back when it's done. Hi everyone, so clearly it is a new day. Yeah, I just got too tired last night to finish filming, but I finished baking the cake. It baked for about 50 minutes, I believe, like, yeah, 45 to 50 minutes. I just took it out once I thought it looked nicely browned, and let's take a look at it. So here it is. Ooh, I want to demold it so that we can take the parchment off. I'm actually bringing this to a party. That's why I look like this. I'm getting ready to go. So we're not going to taste it now. We're going to taste it at the party, but let's demold it. So I'm just going to put a plate on top of this plate and flip it upside down. I already ran a knife around the edge just to make sure, and it was actually already pretty loose, so hopefully this comes out pretty easily, but I always get nervous. Okay, I lied. Let's see what's going on. I'm just gonna lift it a little more carefully. All right, there we go. It happened. Yes. Looks like it's set up really well, so I'm really happy about that. I think I want to bring it to the party in this pie dish because I think it looks nice. So I'm just going to pop it back into the pie dish. I really want to cut into this now and taste it, but we're going to wait for the party. And yeah, I'll see you at the party for the taste test. So we're here at the party, Super Bowl 2025, and we're gonna taste the cake.
It doesn't matter how much you spend.
Delish. Go Birds. It's really good.
Couple sacks tonight in this onslaught by the Philly D-line.
Smooth. Really good.
It's a perfect bite. All year long, they've been great again tonight. 5 sacks, 12 interceptions, and a pick 6. And the 66-year-old Fangio, who grew up in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, as a Philly sports fan, has a chance to be
Perfect.